Hint number 7, identifying and avoiding chaos. All 7 of these have been based on the concept of chaos. Chaos comes from a thermodynamic model called entropy. The universe moves towards maximum distance. And in this chaos, there is order. Chaos you can usually identify because it's circular. We all have people in our lives, we have the exact same conflict. You could probably take a recording of the conversation, and every time the conflict comes up, it's the exact same. That's chaos, things that don't change. To identify chaos, we have to go back to our reptilian brain. In our reptilian brain, if you remember, there was fight, flight, or freeze. This is where chaos is fed, especially in the world we live in right now. To get out of chaos, the first thing is to get out of that concept of being in a circular relationship, to get into those circular conversations. I associate this sometimes with myself as it feels like one of my feet is nailed down and I'm running around in a circle. I feel like I'm working really hard, but I'm not making any progress. I'm not going anywhere. So to do this, we need to get directional. We need to move in some direction. Forward, backward, sideways, it doesn't matter. At least it's not in a circle. So to identify this, we go back to the 3 authors in our reptilian brain who write the narrative or the story for chaos. If any of you know an addict, you all know the exact same stories, is that the addict writes a story about their addiction. And somehow this story protects their addiction more than it protects the relationships around them. This story is written by 3 people: fight, flight, and freeze. The fight narrative is the bully. The bully is the one in your reptilian brain who uses force to regain control of a situation because they feel like they're in danger. So the story is based on force. They will get their way through their actions. Flight is the second narrative. Flight is the victim. The victim non-intuitively regains control by giving away power. They put their chin on their chest so people move towards them. They get what they need by acting as if they need something. By giving away power, they regain control. The third one, freeze, is the trickster. Every culture has a trickster, and the trickster is the one who plays the subterfuge. It plays like Pigpen in the Peanuts. If you remember Pigpen, everywhere he walked, around him was this cloud of dust. This is what the trickster is. Everywhere you walk, there is chaos, there is disturbia. They move in and out. They change the narrative by always pushing and pulling. And through their freeze model and creating chaos out of chaos, they actually gain control. So you have the triangle of chaos, which is the bully, the victim, and the trickster. And when someone is in chaos, you can actually identify it by seeing their narrative is sometimes bully, and then it's sometimes victim, and sometimes it's trickster. Again, this is a human condition. It doesn't matter gender, it doesn't matter ethnicity, it doesn't matter background, it doesn't matter history. We have the same 3 exact narrators who write our story that's based on chaos. To get out of chaos, first of all, we have to identify it, and then we have to find direction to move away from the triangle of chaos, especially in these days when we're surrounded by chaos, when we're surrounded by so much misinformation. We are forced to make decisions, Republican or Democrat, Black Lives Matter or Police Lives Matter, whether or not we should let DACA people in or whether or not we should close the borders. The questions are just not that easy. It's not black or white, because within these black or white binary answers, the bully, the victim, and the thief are writing the narrative, and there is no conversation, there's only chaos, and only a very select few are benefiting from these conversations. So to move out of it, we need to recognize the bully, the victim, and the trickster, move away from them, get directional, and recognize that binary black or white answers do not answer the hard, difficult, complicated questions we have in today's chaotic world. Thank you.
My name is Billy Bromley, and I have worked in areas of teaching, research, and management. I utilize the concept of the triangle of chaos on a daily basis. I want to share an experience that I had where I got to see this process in real time. I was driving and got stuck behind a slow driver. I started thinking, why do I always have to get stuck behind slow drivers? I then became angry and started tailgating him. I started making up stories about his careless driving. I then took some deep breaths, and I realized that I couldn't know whether the thoughts I had were true. I decided to make up another story that was equally as unknowable. I imagined that he was driving on the road because it reminded him of his brother who had just passed away. I didn't feel anger anymore, but I felt compassion for him. It was clear to me at that moment that I had just moved through the triangle of chaos, first taking on the role of victim, then the bully, then the trickster. I used this experience, among others, to help me realize when I'm in the triangle of chaos and to remind me that I do have a choice on how I can react to those experiences.
Hello, my name is Sam Carter. I produce the River Radius podcast, and I also am a professional development trainer. I'm going to talk today about the triangle of chaos from the Kairos curriculum, the Kairos book. So this is not something that I learned once and it was all over. This is something that I've had to willfully put to play in my conversations and in my life, and sometimes it still isn't there. And I have to remind myself to bring it back. The first way I've applied this skill is simply by observing and reflecting on my normal reactions to arguing and disagreeing with someone. I've done that in my personal and professional relationships. From that, I've been able to see how easily I acted out in different roles in the triangle of chaos. Today, when I use my best skills, I often apply this skill by not talking. That does not mean I don't engage in conversations that are either easy or challenging. It means that instead of shoving my voice and opinion directly into the middle of the conversation, I am quiet and I do my best to listen and take a slower pace to speaking. Then when it is appropriate to say what's on my mind, I do my best to speak clearly in an assertive path and avoid the other paths of the bully, the victim, or the trickster. Very honestly, it does not always work that I refrain from engaging through the triangle of chaos. When I do use the triangle of chaos, the outcomes of the hard and challenging conversation are not good and that relationship needs repair. When I do successfully use my skills to stay away from the triangle of chaos, I am more able to come to an understanding about the conflict personally and with the person I am engaging with and have a resolution that is not harming to the people in the conversation. This is not something that I've learned once and all my relations are perfect now. It is something I've learned and that I have to actively and willfully use and respect in my relationships. That's when it's useful.
Thank you for watching the video. My greatest hope is that by watching this, you either change your mindset or your intention or your practice. In this chaotic world, one of the things that brings back hope and help is a concept of bringing back control. And control comes back in little pieces. So through practice and rituals, you can regain control and regain energy. When we are fatigued and we are exhausted, one of the things we forget is where we do have control and where we do have power. Control and power comes through how we express the energy we have in our life. It also comes through how we change the rituals and the routines that we're practicing. Through watching this video, I hope you found a way to change your mindset and your outcomes and found a better and healing place to find energy. If you have any more questions, you're welcome to go to kairosSEI.com, where you can find more resources and more information on our website. Thank you.